So a lot of investors say they want to do more deals, but they still believe that they have to be sitting at the kitchen table to get a contract signed with a seller. And that belief is what is literally keeping them small. So today, I want to show you how we lock up over 200 plus contracts a year without ever going into a seller's house to get a contract signed.
If you're new here, I'm Tiffany. Hi. I'm the co-founder of Heels Homes and Results Driven REI alongside my wonderful husband and business partner, Josh High. And after experiencing well over 2,000 real estate transactions and coaching over 5,000 students nationwide,
I can confidently say I've made every mistake there is to make, and we help investors just like you avoid them so you can live in what I call option freedom, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. So let's dive in. So a lot of investors ask me, should I go on appointments in person or can I actually close sellers over the phone? And I get why people ask this, because for a long time, the industry taught that you had to sit at a kitchen table, you had to walk the property, you had to build rapport face to face and close the deal in person. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and say in-person appointments never work, because they can work and they do work. We used to do them too. But the question is not, can in-person appointments close deals? The real question is that the model you want to build your business around? If every deal depends on you physically showing up, driving to the appointment, walking the property, building the relationship, making the offer, closing the seller, then you may be closing deals, but you are also building a business that depends on you. I'm also going to show you why we moved personally to phone sales and why I believe is the better model if you want to scale, build a team, launch any level of virtual markets, and stop being the person who has to touch every deal in person. The problem with most in-person appointments and the folks that do them is there's a lot of hidden costs that people don't think of. For example, drive time, right? So let's just say your appointment's at 1 o'clock, it's 11:30, 11:45, you got a 30-minute drive. You're probably not gonna call another seller on the phone to schedule an appointment because you don't know how long that's gonna take. So you sit there, blow time, driving across town, and you might have scheduling delays. And because of that wasted time in a car, it naturally results in fewer offers made comparatively to doing phone sales. You also have way less speed to the lead. If a seller opts into my funnel and your funnel on a PPC campaign, and I can process them fully over the phone right away, and you have to schedule an appointment, drive out to their house, make the offer, do all that, I'm likely to get the deal before you. It's much harder to manage and train. So what do I mean by that? When you're doing in-person appointments, more than likely that whole thing is not recorded. And in-person matters more than just tone and script and all that. You've got body language and how you walk the property and how you talk to them, how you shake their hand, how your shoulders are going, all of that. Now in phone sales, we follow a very check-the-box process. And because that call is recorded, I can match my acquisition scorecard and KPIs against that process, and it's much easier to manage them against the process, the numbers, and then train them accordingly. Whereas in-person appointments are much harder to record and then audit in order to give feedback and coach. It's also way harder to scale into new markets. So a lot of companies that I've heard of that do in-person appointments, when they want to go to a new market, they then put out a job ad and they hire someone virtually who physically goes out to houses. We can manage everything from a centralized location, allowing us to grow at a faster scale. And a lot of times, not every time, most times, trust me, I know, I've coached 5,000 to 10,000 students across the country, that the owner stays the bottleneck when there is in-person appointments because they can't go physically walk the property with you. So a lot of times they do it themselves or they're out doing it with you, which is a waste of time. Now, let's talk about phone sales. Phone sales is way faster to get to the lead and go through the process, which makes it way more scalable, right? You call them immediately at opt-in and make more offers in a day, right? Because you're naturally able to make more calls. Calls are then recorded, which means that I can pull the calls. I can do what we call call audits. In sports, we call that watching film. Then we can coach based on watching that film and figure out what is the gaps happening and train accordingly. In addition, it is way easier to hire and onboard because I can do it locally. I can even do someone virtually in another country, another state, another city. I have a bigger talent pool because I'm virtual. Now, we sit physically in an office. Some folks go fully virtual. There's pros and cons to both. No right or wrong answer. Now, the one beauty about phone sales is we physically sit here in Columbus, Ohio. We virtually lock up deals both in our backyard, all of our surrounding areas, and in Toledo, Ohio. Now, what's really cool is that when we decided to launch Toledo, Toledo, Ohio. Now that our whole marketing and all of our inspections and systems are on lockdown, that took us some time, right? You don't want to launch virtual markets from the start. You want to get all of your systems, processes, and infrastructure in place before you ever launch a virtual market. So we launched Toledo. Within 5 days, we had leads coming in, deals getting locked up, and we average anywhere from, call it, 3 to 8 deals a month in Toledo, Ohio, here from Columbus, and we've never ever driven there. So it allows us to get more done with the people we already have in the seats. So the process itself becomes very repeatable and scalable comparatively to going to in-person appointments. And again, speed to the lead is one of the biggest advantages. We beat people to leads all the time because they think they have to go to the house. So sellers often choose whoever can help them first, and in-person appointments slow down the process, right? So phone sales let you compete quickly and get to those leads way faster. Because as you know, the most motivated sellers, they're coming to you. You're not chasing them down. So they're calling you from direct mail or opting into a lead form online, etc. And fast does not mean rush, by the way. It means that we are responsive and first to the lead. The biggest objection I hear is, but you build better rapport in person. And I understand why people say that or think that. It feels is the key word, easier to build connection when you are face to face. But here's where I'm going to challenge you. Rapport does not come from being physically present. Rapport comes from making the seller feel understood and heard. You can be in their living room and still talk too much and skip motivation and rush the offer and make them feel pressured. And you can also be on the phone and build incredible trust if you know how to listen, ask the right questions, slow down, uncover a real problem, and explain the process clearly. The issue is not phone sales versus in-person rapport. The issue is whether you have a sales process that creates that level of trust. So if your phone sales process is just, hey, what do you want for your property? Then yes, you're probably going to struggle. But that is not because phone sales does not work. That is because your sales process doesn't work. And the biggest reason I love phone sales is because it is so much easier to train and coach a team. With phone sales, I can pull that call, hear it, and now we can actually coach against the call. We can audit it, watch the film, and then we can role play the part that they missed. You cannot build a high-performing sales team on very vague feedback. You build it by watching the film, finding the gaps, and training the skill sets. Phone sales gives you the film to be able to do that. So the goal here is not to just close every seller, right? It's to build a repeatable, scalable process that can remove you from being the bottleneck of the company. Let's keep this conversation going. Our community is where we're sharing our systems, processes, and strategies we're using right now in the business. You can come and ask questions, learn from other investors, and see how other people are building businesses that can grow beyond themselves. I go live every single week in the community, and I personally reply to all of your questions. So jump in, ask me whatever you got. The link's in the description. I'll see you inside.